Razabani for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to have with me on Zoom former world title challenger Eric Molina. Eric, firstly, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me, Raz. I'm doing really good.
No, thank you for jumping on. My pleasure. Uh, obviously, how's life? What's been popping in Eric Molina's world at the moment?
Hey, you know what? I just turned 40 years old in April, and been in the gym. I consistently train about 5 days out of the week. I'm in there. It's a big part of my life. I'm still, I still work Monday through Friday. And so, like my entire career, I've been working and I've been doing the boxing thing, after work and fitting it in my life when I can. So um, just same old, keeping on going.
You just mentioned before we started the interview about obviously recently having a fight in Costa Rica. So the Eric Molina train is still going.
Man, you know what? I had when I faced Alan Babic, it was one of those fights where I was called on a Wednesday to leave on a Friday, halfway across the world to fight a very young. Not to take nothing away from Alan Babic, he's a good fighter. He's a strong, undefeated, 100% knockouts in his prime. These are the type of fights. What I learned in that fight is I cannot do that no more. So I've done it most of my career. I've had my job. I was a teacher. I've been a public servant in the city where I live for the last 15 years. It's been my whole entire career. I faced Deontay Wilder from being in the classroom. Same thing for Anthony Joshua. So, but one thing I learned in that fight is that I cannot do that anymore. It's not safe. It's not safe. It's not healthy for me. Those type of risks, like just going for it, swinging for the fence, it's just not safe and healthy for me. So I did say the word retirement after that fight, but I've retired from those type of fights, from those type of opportunities. I don't want to fight these young heavyweights in their prime on short notice across the world and all that. I'm retired from that idea.
So not fully retired like Tyson Fury just yet.
Yeah, you know what? As I'm spending more time in the gym, I love the gym. I'm in there. I could honestly say that I don't know what my life would be without boxing. I'm in there. I'm shadow boxing, punching the bag and sweating. It's really what I love to do. Being around the sport. And so I was called, about a month ago about this fight in Costa Rica. You're interested in going. Costa Rica has been the sixth country that I've been able to fight professionally in. It's been a great ride to pick up my 29th win. And, the goal now is shifted, but I do want to push forward. I'm interested in making it a seventh country. And I'm interested more so to get my 30th win. And so there's certain fights that I'm interested in, but I could tell you right now, like those type of scenarios and those type of setups, you could call me and I have no interest in those type of fights no more.
Interesting. Eric, obviously, it's a big fight week this week in Saudi Arabia. Place you've been for in Jeddah this time. Probably one of the most important heavyweight fights this year, and it could open up the landscape on what happens with the WBC as well, which we'll come to in a moment. But Joshua Usyk, we saw the first fight, and a lot of people said it was convincingly against Usyk. What happens this week?
You know what? I think that Joshua is going to be able to change his game plan. I think that Usyk caught him by a little bit of surprise, and I think Joshua is going to be able to make the adjustments to convincingly win this fight. Not to take anything away from Usyk, but I just kind of feel like Joshua's going to be able to put it together the right way, and I think he's got to come in with a different game plan, which I could see happening. He's got to use his size and his strength and his attributes, and I think that he's definitely going to put together the right adjustments to win this fight.
What are those adjustments there? We saw what he did in the first fight where he tried to box on his own Usyk, and he admits himself that wasn't the right plan. That wasn't the most successful. Well, definitely wasn't the most successful plan. But he said he wanted to prove that he could outbox a boxer. What does he do different in the rematch?
Well, you know what? I think that there's certain things that when you fight certain fighters like Usyk, more than likely you're not gonna. Many heavyweights are not gonna go in there But there are heavyweights that can, like your Frank Sanchez. He might be able to outbox somebody like Usyk. Maybe, there are these heavyweights that are very crafty and they're very scientific with their movements, and maybe they don't have that much power, but their boxing ability and IQ is very high. Their pedigrees in there, but that's not Joshua. That's not Joshua. And I think for him, I think that he maybe underestimated his him coming up from cruiserweight and stuff like that, and he got him by surprise. It is what it is, and I think that he's going to make the right adjustments now, and I think he's going to be rough. He's going to use his size advantages and the strength advantage to put it together the right way and to be victorious.
Obviously, Usyk has almost a similar pedigree to Joshua in terms of the Olympic and amateurs. Obviously, he achieved so much in amateur career. Went on to the Olympics, cleaned out the cruiserweight division, became the undisputed champion, moves up to heavyweight, becomes a unified champion. And he was asked himself, do you expect Joshua to be better? And he said, of course he's going to be better. But he said, so am I going to be better? I'm only starting to fill in to the weight now. So when you say Joshua's going to be better and have a different game plan, but do you think Usyk will be ready for the adjustments that Joshua will make? Because Usyk is a very, very smart individual.
I just think that Joshua's going to have the mentality to where there's not going to be 12 rounds for Joshua. If he goes 10, 11, 12 rounds, more than likely he's going to get outboxed and he's going to lose. He's going to have to understand that he's going to have to hurt this guy at all costs. He's going to have to make it rough. He's going to have to make it uncomfortable. And, these are the things that he can very well do. So, of course, it's a heavyweight division. Anything can happen. Usyk's coming in heavier. So that's what makes the heavyweight division so exciting, is that we could break down all these things, but really one punch could really just change it at any given moment of any given round, and it could really just change everybody's guess of what's going to happen. So, I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's good for the heavyweight division. Me personally, I kind of feel like I got to go with Joshua, because Joshua brings the excitement. He brings the vulnerability to the heavyweight division. What makes it so exciting is that we've seen Joshua lose instantaneously, and we've seen him win instantaneously, and that's what brings excitement to the division, in my opinion. So I think that Usyk doesn't bring that type of excitement. I think he brings the boxing aspect and the science behind it, which I could respect, but I don't think it really brings the excitement in the fans.
There are rumors, and there's only rumors, that Usyk has added on a minimum of 15 kg.
Wow.
For 15 kgs is the number that they've spoken about. A significant amount?
Well, I mean, was he coming up from 220 to 235? I mean, he's still relatively a small heavyweight, but I mean, that's definitely size that's going to really help him out with his abilities. But I still think that you have a specimen in Anthony Joshua, who's got the size, he's got the strength, and he's got all the physical attributes to impose his will and to snatch those belts back. And those 15 pounds, even if he's 235, he's 240, I still feel that this is Joshua's fight, to grasp, to take away, to win.
What about the chain that Joshua's made? Obviously, he brought in, Robert Garcia, who's had multiple world champions, but he's only had that one training camp with Anthony Joshua. And we know it's not just about the relationship in the ring, but also the relationship outside of the ring, to make sure the fighter understands everything you're saying. How difficult will that be for Joshua under the lights? Or is it something that fighters just adapt to?
In my opinion, of course, this is my opinion. If I had a lot of times I trained at home here in South Texas. There's never been a history of a heavyweight in South Texas. So the resources for a heavyweight are very minimal, but we were able to put together, the team that I have and the resources, the training facilities. But when I heard that Joshua was looking for a coach and looking for an American or somebody to guide him, and I have no disrespect against Roberto Garcia, but I would like to have seen him work with a heavyweight coach that has been there, done that. That's my opinion. It's like, I'm not going to go to many heavyweights aren't going to, I respect the heck out of Freddie Roach, but I don't believe that Freddie Roach can train a heavyweight like he could train some of these younger lightweights and welterweights. I've always felt that heavyweight boxing is a different sport. A lot of training is done completely different. And so unless you been there and experienced it. You know, that's why you have so much success with guys like Tyson Fury when he went to Krung Gym. It historically has that enriched heavyweight history there that's just there. The knowledge, the what to do's, the how to handle situations. That's what made that, in my opinion, that's what really put Tyson Fury over the edge against Deontay Wilder. That's what gave him that extra little push. What was that? And I kind of feel that when getting back to Joshua, is that he wanted to enhance his game. I kind of feel like he should have went to an enriched heavyweight a trainer, and not to disclose any, not to say anything bad about Roberto Garcia, but I don't see that in him.
He's got obviously Angel Fernandez as well, so he's got two trainers. When I spoke to both of them a number of months ago, and I asked who's going to be the lead corner on fight night, you know, they said that it was going to be Joshua's decision. Joshua will decide who's the main lead. But should you have multiple trainers in your team, or should there just be that one focal point person that is in charge?
Man, you know what? I mean, that every fighter's different, and every fighter runs their corners different. And you know, like I have a certain way, and so does the next guy. It's whatever's comfortable for him. But you know, I think for Joshua's, you know, there's a handful of trainers now in this world that have been in that world title fight where those moments that could go either way in the fight. That's experience. And there are trainers that have shown that they can be successful in those moments. I kind of feel that he should have led towards going after those guys. If I have a choice, right? Me, if I had a choice, I would go after those guys. Okay, so you know he didn't, but he's got his own reasons. It's his decision, what he feels comfortable with. But that's just what I would do. So,
how does the fight go? Are we gonna hear 12 rounds? Are we gonna hear the final bell, or is this fight gonna end early?
you know, I think that, like I said earlier, Joshua has to have the mentality where, you know, this is not going to go the distance. He's got to have the mentality that if I can't hurt him, then my mentality is not to box 12 rounds, where it's going to be him or me. And, you know, we got to make it rough. We got to make it risky. We got to make it, if I got to be vulnerable, whatever the case is, that's going to have to be the mindset for him to be making it rough so that he could be victorious. I kind of feel like that's the way he's going to have to go. If he plays it too safe and says, I want to box and I want to do this, I could see it going the same way. So it just really depends his mindset. He could have whoever coach he wants in his corner, but his real mindset is in his mind the night before the fight, every night in training camp. Only he really knows where he's at.
Well, we look forward to a great fight this Saturday night, live and exclusive here in the UK on Sky Sports Pay-Per-View and DAZN in America. Eric, before I let you go, obviously this week, sorry, not this week, on Friday, Tyson Fury announced his retirement from boxing again on his birthday. He said he's no longer boxing. It probably looked like the most legitimate retirement with the way he wrote his Instagram post. Obviously, the ring magazine have since taken the belt off him, and that is on the line for Usyk and Joshua. The WBC have given Tyson to put it in writing by August 26th. Sure. So is that end of a road now? End of an era for Tyson?
You know what? I'm going to say this with all the respect that I can for Tyson Fury. I think that there are days where he wants to believe that that's it for him, and that's the safest thing and all these things. Coming from a fighter who I could honestly say I don't know what things I would do without the sport. I believe that Tyson Fury's just the same mindset, if not times 10. He needs boxing in his life. And, you know, whether I kind of sense that these are things that he's doing just to build the hype of him to come back. Floyd Mayweather made more money after his career than he did. I mean, he's making so much money now that he's been retired. So I think this is just part of the whole process. You know, I wish Tyson Fury the best. He's a great champion. He's got nothing left to prove. But I kind of feel like time will tell, and I think it'll tell the story of him needing the sport. He needs the light. He needs the attention. He needs to be that role. And I'll be honest, we need Tyson Fury also. So it's a two-way street. I like him, and I became a big fan of him, and I'm a huge fan of Deontay Wilder. And I hope to see him back, and I'm pretty sure that we will see him back.
A fight announced a couple of weeks ago: Joyce-Parker versus Joe Joyce. I speak to a lot of people, and a lot of people are split on this fight. September 24th, Queensbury. Frank Warren's obviously shown this here, BT Sport here in the UK. Can you pick one?
Man, you know what? That is a great fight right there. And I have to say that I can see Joseph-Parker edging out a very, very, very close decision. And I could see that just on his hand speed and boxing ability. And I think one of the biggest things for a fighter to realize, and I think Joseph, he's been in these fights before, is that he's got to have the mindset that I'm going to outbox this guy for 12 rounds. I think the guys that have lost to Joe Joyce, the ones that have lost to Joe Joyce have gone in there and maybe extended themselves trying to hurt him, or maybe they thought he was hurt and been discouraged and been broken mentally from him still coming back. Like, I think Joe Joyce has probably one of the strongest chins in the heavyweight division. So if you're going in there thinking, you know, that and that, then there's going to be a point in the fight where you're going to be very discouraged. I think Joseph-Parker's been in these fights where he can go the 12 rounds. His hand speed is great. His athleticism is great. And I think the experience in the fights of going 12 rounds and having to push out 12 rounds, I think that could squeeze him out a point victory.
Epic. Well, we look forward to that fight, which is about 6 weeks away now. Eric, thank you for giving me a few moments of your time. And yeah, let's enjoy fight week. Let's enjoy fight night and roll on.
Absolutely, man. Take care, champ.
Eric Molina, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Against a heavyweight. I've gone back to the dad. I've punched him a few more times.
5 blokes outside my front door. Can you come and help
One
me?
hell of a fucking story, so stay tuned.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.